Hello, my name is Jason Carrozza and I'm a Bellingham resident, the owner of Carrozza Law Office PC, and the Vice President of the Bellingham Business Association. And today I'm also the host of Strictly Business, sponsored by the Bellingham Business Association. The BBA is a nonprofit organization that supports local business and gives back to the community which it serves. Today's guests are Itamar, Chalif, and also he's the vice president at Rockland Trust, specializing in business transactions, and also Mike Shain. He's a mortgage consultant with Charles River Bank. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Before we get into some questions, I wanted to provide just a brief recap of past BBA events. On September 26th, the BBA held its 2011 Golf Scholarship Drive. It was a wonderful afternoon of golf with overflowing participation and fun. Proceeds from that charity golf tournament support the BBA Scholarship Awards for graduating Bellingham seniors. Well, thank you, Mike and Itamar, for being our guests today during Strictly Business, which is sponsored by the Bellingham Business Association. I say we jump right into some questions.
Let's go for it.
Let's start with the more obvious of questions, and we'll start with Itamar. Tell us about your background, and what I strictly want to get at is, how did you get into your business, and what do you love about it?
Well, for a number of years, I was working with business owners. I was consulting them about business financing and how to properly structure financing for taking into account future business needs and growth needs and so on and so forth. At some point, Rockland Trust heard about me. They approached me, and here I am doing the same thing, just working for a lender. What I like about it is I work for a really great organization and provide just fantastic service to the local business community.
Thank you. Mike?
Mine was a little different path than Itamar's. About 25 years ago, I lived in Brockton, Mass., and I was unemployed. I needed a job. I went through the Help Wanted, and at the time, Bay Banks was hiring indirect automobile loan collectors to call people who were past due. So I needed a job, they hired me, and that started my career in banking. Didn't mean to get into banking, had no intentions of getting into banking, but I love it. 25 years later, I'm still doing it. What I enjoy most about what I do, which is mortgages, is really working with first-time home buyers, people who need advice, people who don't have the information, people who need a little bit of hand-holding, people who have a lot of questions, and I'm there for them to really guide them through the entire process of buying a home. Now, doing this for 25 years, I'm very comfortable with the entire process, but when you're buying your first home, you have so many questions. You don't know a lot about the process, and I'm there to answer their questions and take them from pre-approval to the offer to the loan closing.
Excellent. Any idea what Bay Bank became today after how many mergers?
I think Bay Bank, let me see, jump in. I think Bay Bank became Fleet, and I think Fleet became Bank of America.
Yep. That would have been my guess as well.
Okay.
Terrific. Itamar, you're the Vice President of Business Transactions over at Rockland Trust. Why don't you tell our listeners, and we have a big listener contingent that are business owners in the area, tell us a little bit about your products and services that you offer.
Well, I think the biggest value is probably my past experience, because I didn't jump into the being a banker right out of college. I spent many years working in different places, had my own business. So when I work with a business owner, I can relate to them, I can understand them, I can understand the pleasures and challenges of owning your own business. So it brings me a different value to the actual relationship and the way we work together. The organization itself is it's a very solid organization, well-funded, and all in all, each relationship matters. And really, every decision that's being made is based on those premises, and the decisions are local. They're not out of state, so we work very closely with the customers.
And you help finance lines of credit, acquisition of assets, things along those lines that kind of allow businesses to grow and also maintain.
That's correct.
Which is critical in these times.
Well, as well as the just plain vanilla checking account. There are so many different options. There's so many different tools that are available to business, as simple as depositing checks from your cell phone.
Right.
For a small business owner, that could save them, a trip to the bank almost every day.
Terrific, thank you. Mike, you're more in the residential mortgage side, is that correct?
Strictly, although the bank, Charles River Bank, does do commercial lending, my niche is just strictly residential mortgages, owner-occupied, investment properties, 1 to 4 family as well.
And what kind of mortgage products are you offering right now?
We do
How are you
quite a
helping
bit.
people?
Well, great question. We do a lot with mass housing. Mass housing is the state's affordable housing initiative, and that allows first-time homebuyers and non-first-time homebuyers to either purchase or refinance their home. If they're looking to purchase a home, they can do it with as little as 3% down, which in challenging economic times works out very well. One of the beauties of mass housing is that it's serviced locally, although in this case, Charles River Bank doesn't service mass housing, only mass housing services it. The rates are fantastic. Their private mortgage insurance is lower than FHA and lower than conventional. And one very nice product they do offer, and they only offer 30-year mortgages, is in challenging times, if someone should lose their job, and no charge whatsoever, mass housing will make their mortgage payment for 6 months. And for a lot of people who have concerns about where the economy is going, that gives them strong peace of mind. We also offer the Fannie Mae products, 30-year fixed, 20-year fixed, a 10-year fixed. With rates being so low right now, many people are refinancing their 30-year mortgage into a 25 or a 20 or even 10 in some cases. It just depends, how the mortgage fits into the overall financial package.
Now, getting back to mass housing, there's only a specified amount of lenders that offer that, correct?
Not every bank is a mass housing lender, that's correct.
Okay. Itamar, tell us a little bit about your perfect client or customer, in the sense of someone that you want to service. Maybe it's a particular business niche, a specific demographic of businesses.
We are a general lender, so we don't really have any specific industry that, excuse me, that we favor, nor that we have restrictive industries that we will say right off the get-go, we're not interested in looking at them. We are very diversified in what we do. Personally, I've worked, my entire career I worked with privately held companies. Personally, I don't have a lot of experience working with publicly traded organizations. So a perfect customer for me personally would be anywhere from a startup situation, somebody who says, you know what, I want to open a business, I want to start an enterprise, and how do I go about it? I spend a substantial amount of years helping businesses put business plans together. So that could be somebody I can bring a lot of value to, either myself or work with a team of professionals that will help them accomplish those tasks. Anywhere from $10, $20 million in annual sales, regardless of industry.
And the fact that you had a lot of exposure to small business, you were in the trenches, it really makes you unique as a business banker, that you're aware of these traps for the unwary and can kind of help your customers navigate those waters, which I think is really helpful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mike, same thing for you. Any specific demographic or perfect type of client you like working with?
Not perfect type of customer, but certainly something that gives me most satisfaction. Although we do purchases and refinances and investment property, the customer that I enjoy working with the most is that first-time home buyer who comes to me because they have an idea, they think now's the right time. We sit, we talk about income, we talk about credit, we talk about debt, we talk about mortgage rates, we talk about mortgage programs, and it's my job to share my knowledge and education with them and then take them from pre-approval to looking for that house to actually finding a house. So although I deal with all homeowners, purchase and refinance, the one that gives me the greatest personal satisfaction would be that first-time home buyer.
What are you seeing right now in terms of your inventory? Are you dealing more with purchases, refinances? Is it a bit of a mix?
Okay, yeah, it is a bit of a mix. Right now, as we speak, the pipeline is quite healthy. Quite a few refis, but I must say, and I do qualify this, the purchase market is very strong for me right now. Unfortunately, as we know, there are quite a few short sales and quite a few foreclosures. And I always say this, someone's bad news turns out to be someone else's good news and opportunity. And though we never like to see anyone ever lose their home, the fact is it's happening quite a bit. And I tell my first-time home buyers that now is the perfect storm to go out and buy the home. There is mortgage money available for those who qualify. The down payment can be as little as 3%, and there are quite a few motivated sellers who are looking to sell their homes. So it is a perfect storm of good news for some, keeping in mind that for others, it is sad news for them.
And that's really a perfect segue into my next question, because as our viewers are probably noticing, the theme for today is banking, and we have
Really?
the commercial and the residential side.
That?
I've heard that, yes.
It's a different financial landscape, and the financial regulations that have occurred over maybe the last 4 years have been very stringent on banks. With that said, there's probably a lot of opportunities as well, and I'll throw Itamar in the first question. With the new financial landscape, what are you seeing as opportunities that are emerging for your clients and customers?
Well, I think the most obvious opportunity is the fact that the cost of money is as low as I can remember.
Yeah.
It's true about the residential, but it's also true in the commercial arena. So you might have a business that obtained financing even 2 to 3 years ago, which at that time rates were low. And now it might make sense for them to refinance again and improve their cash flow. There's a great opportunity in the just plain refinancing current debt. The other opportunity that I believe is a little bit more subtle is that, yes, the lenders are very, very strict. They are looking at every single aspect of transaction to try to understand why they should and why they should not lend to a business. But they also understand that the businesses that have survived this type of recession are most likely are well managed, and they would survive the next stage, and they're willing to look even deeper to find reasons to make it happen. So there is an opportunity there that was not there, I would say, about 6-7 months ago.
Let me add to that question a little bit. For our viewers at home, is there any sort of advice you'd provide our business owners to kind of position themselves to maybe qualify for a loan, maybe things they should be thinking of pre-meeting you?
It's all the same. It's all the obvious kind of things. Maintain your credit at a high score, maintain decent cash flow. There's all the basic things that were true years ago are true today. A business must maintain a solid balance sheet, cash flow. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, no, I think where I was also going with that is, when is the right time to talk to someone like the Itamars of the world? I mean, is it at the inception of the business? Is it when they're starting to grow and bust through the seams?
The best time to talk with me would be actually before a business needs money, or before somebody wants to start a business. Maybe they have 6 months to a year before they want to pull the trigger, because then you can plan for it. You can shift things around. If there's credit issues, you can fix them. If there's cash flow, maybe there's too much debt, or whatever the case may be, you have time to address those issues before you actually need the capital. With the business situation, most people are afraid of debt. They don't like debt.
Agreed.
But with the business situation, debt could be a good ally. If it's properly structured, properly thought, and probably planned for in the future, then it could be a great tool to use for business. That's what it's there for. I guess my biggest advice to a business would be is to obtain those financing when they don't need them. Way, way ahead before they need them.
When they do need it, it may be too late.
Could be too late. They could be rushed to make wrong decisions. Maybe the programs are not going to be as attractive as they are today. Perhaps the business is not going to qualify. Perhaps they're going to wait too long and they're going to have too much debt. Who knows?
Good advice. Thank you. Mike, same question for you. You had kind of hit on this a little bit during the last question with the perfect storm, but is there anything you want to add?
Well, I think
with
years
regard to
ago,
opportunity?
Well, I think there's great opportunity for community banks. There was a time when mortgage brokers and large national lenders, who I won't mention, were very popular to obtain their mortgages. And then a lot of these large national banks had trouble. A lot of them went out of business. A lot of the large mortgage brokers went out of business. So I think there's a return to basics. I've always said to people, if you don't get a mortgage from Charles River Bank, at least give your local community bank the opportunity to serve your needs. Why? You know, if you have a mortgage with a company in California, your payment goes to California. There's no local benefit here. If you bank locally with Charles River Bank or with Rockland Trust Company, it's local people serving local people. When the Bellingham Little League needs money, who do they go to? Charles River Bank and Rockland Trust Company. If they send a letter out to a bank that's located in the South, who I won't name, or a lender out in California, they're not going to get the service. So I think Tip O'Neill once said, all politics is local. And I say to people out there, if you're going to bank, give your local community banks the opportunity to be of service. I mean, we're your friends, we're your neighbors, we're in the community. Our rates are excellent. I think, actually, I know our service and our dedication to customer satisfaction is important because I see my customers in the supermarket. And I see them different places. You know, I see them at functions, at restaurants. So I want to always provide, and I'm sure Itamar does as well, provide the best possible service because we're local, and local is good.
And there's a sense of trust and community that comes along
Absolutely.
with that.
I think just to add to specifically when you talk to mortgages, the fact that the title stays local, it presents, it could prevent many challenges. Would you agree with me on that?
That's true.
You know, if you how many times have you refinanced a bank out of state and then you had to chase the title and there was nobody to talk to?
I agree. I mean,
Correct.
always
There's some
very
sort of
important.
local accountability.
there is
Very
local
important.
accountability, but
Yeah.
we care.
Yeah.
Itamar, tell us something about your business or industry that our viewers might not know.
I think that if it's not obvious to everybody by now, it is very important for a business to do business with a very solid bank. A bank that is well funded, that doesn't have liquidity issues. Because what happens is, what we have seen in the past few years, when banks had those challenges, ultimately the customers end up paying a very big price. Some loans were called off when they, under other circumstances, may not have been called off. Some customers were pushed out of banks when under other circumstances that might not have happened. So I think that the business owner should do a little bit more homework before getting involved with a bank, or if they do work with a bank right now, to check that out and see how solid those institutions are, because they don't want to be in that position where something happens to that organization and they end up paying the price.
Very good advice. Mike, same question for you.
I mean, I would second everything that Itamar said, but also,
But you can't say it with my accent.
no, I probably cannot. That's true, but I'll try. Very good.
You can pronounce his last name better. Did that earlier.
Yes, I did. I think I would ask people to keep in mind that even though certainly there has been a shakeout somewhat as far as mortgage lending guidelines, for people who have stable income, who have a down payment, and who have reasonably good credit, there still is a low interest mortgage for them. The idea that you have to put down 20% is not true. With mass housing and with other mortgage programs, those who qualify for mortgages do get mortgages. What's gone are loans that should never have been made in the first place. Subprime loans, no verification loans. Those type loans shouldn't have been made. Community banks never made them, and now we're paying the price. Those other companies that I spoke about, those national mortgage broking companies, I mean, they were key, the engine behind a lot of these subprime loans, and unfortunately, the economy and a lot of homeowners are paying the price now for their mistakes.
And the lesson to be learned from that is, naturally, if you're credit worthy and you're a good borrower, there's still an opportunity for you. That landscape has not changed.
Absolutely. I mean, the opportunity really between rates and prices has never been better.
This has been great. I really appreciate the fact we're having this dialogue, and I suspect that a lot of our viewers at home have a lot of questions that perhaps we couldn't get to during this segment. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to just provide our viewers with contact information, so if they do want to follow up, they can get in touch with you.
Well, best way to reach me is my cell phone, 508-280-7510. And if you missed that phone number, you can call the Franklin branch, the main Franklin branch for Rockland Trust, and they will direct you to me. That's where my office is.
Thank you. Mike?
Okay. My cell phone is 508-330-8487, or Shain, that's MSHAIN, at charlesriverbank.com.
Terrific. Well, with the time remaining, I want to let our viewers know about some widely anticipated BBA coming attractions. The BBA October meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 19th at 6 p.m. at Lowell's Restaurant in Bellingham. The October meeting theme is Nonprofit Night, and we will expect to have a presentation from the Bellingham Public Library. For more information about the upcoming meeting, other events, and the BBA in general, we encourage you to visit our website at www.bellinghambusinessassociation.org. In closing, I want to thank Itamar and also Mike Shain of Charles River Bank for being our guest today, Itamar of Rockland Trust. Please stay tuned for another fantastic edition of Strictly Business coming in November. Thank you.
Thank you.